Picture this. April 23rd, 1981. Your winter coat has already been put away. Daffodils are out. Easter has just passed, full of sunshine and mild days. Spring feels settled. Then the sky turns white. Snow in April. Not a brief flurry that vanishes by lunchtime. This was real snow. Heavy, relentless, road-blocking snow. The kind that buries cars and shuts down motorways. Snow that simply shouldn't exist this late in the year. For 4 days, Britain fought a blizzard that belonged in January, not spring. And nobody was prepared. Not farmers whose newborn lambs froze in open fields. Not drivers stranded for hours on the M4. Not families who'd packed away their thick jumpers only to drag them back out again. This was the storm that caught everyone off guard. The April freeze of 1981. It began quietly. Mid-April had been glorious. In some places, temperatures reached 20 degrees, the warmest first half of April in 2 decades. People wore short sleeves. Gardens burst into color. Trees filled with fresh green leaves. Winter felt long gone. Spring had arrived properly. Britain relaxed. Then came Easter Monday, April 20th, and everything shifted. Cold air poured down from the Arctic. The wind swung north and turned sharp, biting. Temperatures dropped fast. By April 23rd, that freezing air collided with a low-pressure system pushing in from the Atlantic. The result was snow. Thick, wet, unstoppable snow falling onto a country already living in spring mode. Dalwhinnie in the Scottish Highlands dropped to -11 degrees on the night of the 23rd, the coldest late April temperature since 1908. In Birmingham, daytime temperatures barely reached 3 degrees between the 24th and 26th. Normally, late April meant 16 degrees. Light jackets. Instead, people scraped ice from windscreens and watched their breath cloud kitchens that should have felt warm. The worst arrived on April 25th and 26th. Overnight, up to 20 centimeters fell across southern and western England and Wales. Gloucestershire was buried under 66 centimeters, more than 2 feet. The Peak District saw 60 centimeters lying level, but it was the drifts that caused chaos. Walls of snow rising 6 meters high across Derbyshire and Staffordshire. Roads vanished completely. Your dad opened the curtains expecting spring. Instead, everything was white. The garden fence gone, the car invisible. Snow piled against the front door so thick you couldn't open it without shoveling first. And this wasn't light powder. This was heavy, sodden snow, the kind that snaps things. Trees that had just grown new leaves bent under the weight. Branches cracked. The sound echoed through streets. Crack, thud, another tree damaged. Years of growth destroyed in a single night. At first, the snow came in showers. The April sun still had strength, melting it during the day. People assumed it would pass. A strange blip, nothing serious. Then the 25th and 26th arrived. The snow turned constant, heavier, and it stopped melting. The sun couldn't compete with the sheer volume falling from the sky. Layer after layer built up faster than nature could clear it. Cities weren't spared. Birmingham saw 10 centimeters settle, York the same. Places that rarely saw serious snow, even in winter, now had pavements buried and traffic completely stopped. Mum's bus never came. Dad's train was cancelled. And if you worked in a city centre, getting there meant walking through conditions you'd expect on a mountain, not a high street. Power cuts spread nationwide. Snow and ice dragged down overhead lines. Entire streets went dark. No heating, no hot water. Families huddled around coal fires if they had them. Candles burned in windows for hours while the wind howled outside, driving snow sideways and piling it higher against walls and hedges. But what made it truly frightening was this. In 1981, phone lines failed. Wet snow snapped cables across whole regions. This was before mobiles, before the internet. When the phone went dead, you were isolated. No calling for help, no checking on elderly relatives, no knowing if doctors could reach you. People sat in cold, dark houses, completely cut off, sometimes for days. The M4 became a frozen car park. Drifts over a meter deep blocked sections entirely. Drivers sat trapped for hours. Some abandoned their cars and walked to nearby villages, trudging through knee-deep snow in shoes meant for spring. The Snake Pass closed completely. Avalanche risk, they said. Avalanche. In Britain, in April, farmers faced devastation. April is lambing season. Newborn lambs, only days old, were caught in blizzards and freezing temperatures. On Dartmoor, sheep pressed against stone walls for shelter as razor-sharp winds tore across the moors. Many didn't survive. Farmers found them frozen in the morning, mothers standing guard over lambs that never stood a chance. Cattle struggled too. Spring calves born in mild, weather days earlier now faced Arctic conditions. Farmers worked non-stop, hauling animals into barns, spreading straw, doing everything possible. But when weather turns that cruel, there's only so much you can do. Losses mounted. Costs were devastating for families already surviving on tight margins. At home, winter returned. Thick jumpers, wool coats, scarves, all pulled back out. Children who'd worn t-shirts the week before were wrapped in hats, gloves, and boots again. Schools struggled. Some closed when staff couldn't get in. Others opened half empty. Teachers who lived miles away gave up trying. Classrooms sat quiet while children at home watched snow stack up against frosted windows. And yet, kids made the most of it. Snow in April felt magical. Sledges came out. Tea trays vanished from kitchens. Baking sheets were borrowed without permission. Anything that slid got used. Snowball fights filled every street. Snowmen stood in gardens still dotted with spring flowers. Daffodils buried. Cherry blossoms frozen solid. Tulips poking through drifts. Winter and spring collided, strange, beautiful, harsh. And through it all, communities pulled together. Neighbors checked on neighbors. Do you need coal? Got milk? Need help? Strangers pushed cars, cleared paths, looked out for the elderly. The same instinct kicked in as always. You don't complain, you help. Thunder rolled on the 24th and 26th. Thunder snow. Lightning flashing through falling snow. The sky glowing white on white. 40-mile-an-hour winds shredded visibility to nothing. Stepping outside felt like hitting a frozen wall. Then, on April 27th, just as suddenly as it arrived, the cold collapsed. Milder air pushed in, the snow melted fast, and that triggered the next disaster, flooding. 60 centimeters of snow turned to water almost overnight. Rivers burst their banks. The East Midlands saw its worst flooding since 1947. Streets became rivers, homes filled with water, fields turned to lakes. Frozen ground couldn't absorb the melt, so water poured downhill into towns and houses. Families who'd survived a blizzard now faced ruined carpets, soaked furniture, weeks of cleanup, all because of 4 days of snow that should never have happened. The April snow of 1981 became legend, the blizzard nobody expected, the moment winter returned in spring. And Britain got through it with shovels, stubbornness, neighbors who became friends, and a laugh about the weather being completely mad. Because that's what we do. We adapt, we carry on, and we remember. If you remember that snow, drop a comment and share your story. Subscribe to keep these memories alive.